Jim Norton is not a doctor. He's not an expert. He's not even a good person. The views, opinions, advice, and humor of Jim Norton does not reflect those of any doctor, of Sirius XM, of Opie Radio, or anyone else. They are solely those of Jim Norton, Lyle Chipperson, Edgar Mellencamp, Paul Hargis, and whoever else lives in that chinless head of his. If any of this advice goes wrong, you are the asshole who called a comedian instead of a doctor.
An icon in comedy, a fighter for freedoms, an accomplished entertainer, and a pervert. You've got problems, he's got problems. You've got questions, he's got answers, some of which are good. Call now, 866-WOW-1-WOW. That's 866-969-1969. This is the Jim Norton Show.
Howdy.
That's a good way to open my show.
Howdy.
La la la. I'm in relatively good spirits today. I don't know why. Actually, that's bullshit. I do know why. Because I'm doing things I'm supposed to be doing. Moving is a traumatic experience for anybody. I mean, it's a gift to be able to move to a place you want to move to. You're lucky. But it's a fucking nightmare. And it's a real thing that's going to happen now. Steroid actually said it very well this morning. I don't know if he said it on air, but he said, because you're thinking about it constantly, but you can't do it until you're doing it. Like it's leading up to this big day. And so I got a text yesterday from my attorney, and he said that the new buyer, people who bought my apartment, wanted to meet me. And I was like, all right, it was a little weird, but I was like, why not? So they come over, and they brought me that bottle of wine that I brought Opie, which was kind of funny. And they were very nice, and they were like, well, we want to be able to bring people by and show the apartment. And so now I'm like, someone's going to be in my space. But, you know, who gives a shit? I've looked at people's apartments, so as I behaved, there's a realtor with them. But I think that freaked me out because it made it real. Like, I have to be out of here soon, and my apartment's not ready where I'm going. It might be livable by the time I get there, but it's really, really down to the wire. And I'm panicking a little bit. So I tend to shut down when I panic. Like, I just freeze up. Like, I understand why animals just stand there like dickheads when a car is coming and a deer just goes, there. You know, fucking deers are so stupid. And they're like, oh, they get lost in the headlights. No, they don't. They just probably panic. They don't know how to handle it. You know, that's like me when I'm doing something. When I'm doing big boy stuff, I just stop, freeze up. So, you know, I went to the FedEx store before and bought some boxes because I'm filming a pilot as well, so I've been extraordinarily busy every day. I'm traveling tomorrow. So I just went and bought boxes and began packing up some shit in small boxes. Packing shit, I've done that before. Good night. But it feels good to be acting like an adult. And I talked to my accountant, and the money I made from this apartment, I immediately put into my new mortgage. Every dollar of it. I didn't spend $1 on bullshit. All of it rolled into my other mortgage. I got word from my accountant today that both checks have been received and put into the accounts. So that makes me feel good. Like, I really am a responsible adult. I'm not a fuck up. I don't take the money and waste it. I didn't gamble it. You know, I'm such an addictive slob that I'm just happy that I was able to act like an adult and do a big boy thing. This pilot's really draining. We got some really funny stuff written yesterday. So I feel much better today than I did 3 days ago. All right, we got a lot of calls here. I'm you know, feeling pretty good. Bryce in Dallas. What's up, Bryce?
Hey, man. How you feeling today?
I'm well, buddy. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. I really like even though there's not very many, I love the Jim Norton drunk stories. The one in particular that stands out that you've talked about a little bit, I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more. You were like drunk in front of a store, and one of your friends pissed you off, and you wanted to kill him with a box cutter or something like that. Can you kind of?
That was my first time drunk. It was an A&P in New Jersey. There's a Bradley's and an A&P connected, and my buddy worked inside. And I went in there, and I was drunk, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I used to always carry a box cutter. I don't know why. I just thought I was cool, and I think I worked at Bradley's at that time. So I saw my friend, and I can still picture him with his A&P apron on. And we kind of shook hands. and I didn't like the way he shook my hand. I thought he disrespected, it's embarrassing. So we're outside, or actually I don't know. I don't even think I was working at that time. I don't know why I had a box cutter. I don't know why. And I remember I was outside the store and I thought about it. You know how it is when you get drunk, like time doesn't really... All I remember is standing outside crying and pulling a box cutter out and trying to walk back into the store to cut him. And my friends were holding me back, telling me that you can't do that. And he was standing in the window, and I was screaming and trying to get him to come outside. Really suburban asshole antics. And then there was the other time where I was walking down the street with a butcher knife, and I actually did pull that on my friend in the woods, and I was going to stab him. And I kind of wanted the police to shoot me. But I didn't realize they had mace and nightsticks. I'm so glad I didn't get stopped, because they would have just hit me in the mouth with a nightstick and taken my fucking knife. I was a real weenie. I was a fucking weenie, Bryce. So, and now, if I had survived this long, and I really don't think I would have, you know what I'd be doing now is I'd be drunk tweeting. Like, I would just ruin my career drunk tweeting or going on stage or going on the radio drunk. And I see guys on shows fucking up and acting drunk and really messing up their lives. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's exactly what I would be doing. Melting down on Twitter or whatever it was. So
one of my previous calls to your show was, what do you think would have happened if Twitter was around when you were drinking? And you said you would have tweeted pictures of your dick. You would have threatened politicians. You would have done like...
Oh, awesome. Dude, it would have been a tremendously embarrassing experience. All right, Bryce, I got a bunch of calls. So thank you so much. Okay?
Have a good day.
All right. Let's see here. Gerard in Charleston wants to give me some moving advice. I help you, you help me. Hello.
Yeah, welcome to the Gerald Advice Show here on Wednesdays. And from Charleston, I got Jim here. So, Jim.
Hi, I'm moving. What do I do?
Yeah, I know it's sort of anxiety leading up to the fact. Well, I'll tell you this. My family and I felt the same way a couple of years ago. We moved from D.C. to Charleston, like you, a place where we wanted to move.
Right.
We moved out, and as we moved in, nothing was ready. We had 4 or 5, blue-collar dudes walking around the house for the majority of the day for the first 6 months. Well, and we don't like people in our space either. 2 years later, here we are now, we're settled, and it's interesting. I look back, and I sort of miss those days, and I'll tell you why. It feels like those are real memorable building blocks to our lives and where we are now. And it's something that really, you learn through for sure. And so I tell you, don't be too anxietal about it. I know you're going to anyway, but know at some point you're going to look back and say, God damn, I sort of missed that. And I know I'm taking up a lot of time, so I'll ask this to you as well, Jim.
What's that?
Thank you for calling. And by the way, you opened it up today by saying, I'm in pretty good spirits. I'm not sure why. You said, I don't know why. And what you said really struck a nerve. It's interesting. You said, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And, my wife and I run a company, and the last 3 months I've been trying to figure things out, and I realized the last couple of weeks I started digging in, making the right decisions, talking to people the way they should be spoken to, and really creating even better relationships in what I was doing and start executing better. And I feel like you two today, Jim. I feel sort of damn good, and it's because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So thank you for saying that. I respect you as a man, your opinion, your comedy is pretty damn good, too, at times. And you got a great radio show. So thank you for calling me. I'm glad I could give you that advice. And goddamn, keep kicking ass in life, dude.
Thanks, Gerald. Take care, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, he was right. It's one of those things where I can't live because they were doing a full renovation because I just realized that everything in that apartment was shitty. But I've lived through a renovation a couple times in this place. I had a hole knocked in between the kitchen and dining room years and years ago. And the dust was horrendous. And I also had shelves and stuff put in. The dust was an abomination. I'll never do that again. A minimal amount, like I think I have to have shades and blinds put in. And they're doing the majority of the work beforehand. So I may have to go through that where there's a little bit of work for shades going in. But I think all of the building blocks will be in by the time I get there. A little bit here and there. But the majority of like the kitchen work and the major like closet stuff and like anything that, not my lifestyle, I mean the actual physical closets. And I walk into the place recently and the closet in the hallway is backwards. Backwards! Like, I'm thinking to myself, the rod isn't where I want it, so I have to put all my stuff in by my left hand and it's just going to annoy me instead of my right hand. And I'm like, is that really my biggest problem in life? Mike in Texas, Chip is getting someone in trouble. What's up?
Yep, sure is. So I say Chip's getting them in trouble, but I guess I introduced Chip to, my kids. I take them to school. They're in high school now, so. Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here, buddy.
Oh, sorry about that. So, we're in the kitchen, me and my wife, making dinner, and she says to my son, give me the apron. Right away, apron? Why does he fucking walk?
Apron. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I understand. Ape run, ape walk.
Ape walk.
Clever humor.
So,
Clever humor.
yeah, and you could see the gears turn in every conversation that we have with him. So I got to tell him to quit. So, but we love you. Hope to see you in San Antone, and keep on.
All right, thanks a lot.
Love you.
Take care, buddy. Dale in California, what's up?
Yeah. So my mom is kind of drinking herself to death. She's got between a half gallon and a gallon of, she kind of alternates between like whiskey and vodka and gin, whatever she can do. And it's pretty much every single night. And my dad can't really seem to do much about it. Every time he wants to put his foot down and force her into a rehab or into AA, she gets really defensive because she's bipolar. So she gets super defensive and she literally flips the hell out. Sometimes it's even destructive, like she'll break things. I know that the typical kind of intervention where, family members surround her, that's only going to throw her into a blind red rage, even if she's sober. I was wondering if you had any ideas or strategies or anything like that, because I've talked to a couple of counselors as far as alcoholism goes, and I don't really like what their answer is. So I was. What
do they say to you? Because my suggestion would be this: I've never gone to Al-Anon. I've heard of it, and I know a lot of people who have over the many, many years. So I cannot speak from experience, but someone who is living with an alcoholic. We make people's lives miserable, especially when we're acting like that. They say you should and it's hard to do, because in a way you're detaching with love, but they say you should hope that somebody hits bottom, because that's when they are ready to do something. So you might want to try Al-Anon and talk to people who are in a similar boat, because honestly, that to me is the most therapeutic thing, is to speak to people who are currently dealing with the exact same situation you are, and they can tell you from their own experience what is the best course of action. But I would say you should encourage someone to hit their bottom.
She's hit her bottom like 3 or 4 times, but she's always got my dad to sort of be an enabler.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that will help him stop enabling, because enablers only make the addiction drag out longer. They mean well. And a lot of what they do is based in love, but they do not help, because they are making life much easier for the addicted person to keep acting fucked up. And I know that, again, a lot of times they enable because they want to help the person save their life. But enabling is also something that the person who's doing the enabling, they're part of the sick cycle as well. And they're getting something out of the enabling as well. They're in that relationship as well. So I would suggest trying Al-Anon or Alateen. I'm not sure how old you are, but I think that's all you can do, is encourage someone to hit their bottom and hope that they hit their bottom.
All right. Well, I'll give it a shot. Given the full details when I've when I've spoken with some alcohol counselors, they basically are telling me that I should just walk away, because they think he's just not going to stop enabling her, because it's been years, and her liver's got to be about shot. I mean, the whites of her eyes are starting to get a little yellow, and I don't know, but yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll just try maybe a different program or something.
Do something like that. That's the best suggestion.
All right, cool. I'll give it a shot, bro.
Good luck, buddy. Sorry to hear about your mom. It sucks.
Shit happens.
Yes, it does. Take care. All right, let's see here. Ryan in New York. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going, Jimmy?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Yeah, I've been holding this question for a while. But yeah, so when it comes to meeting new girls, I kind of almost apply this great quote by, I think it was Bill Murray or Steve Martin, but they said, act crazy at first, because you could always prove you're insane later. I don't know if you ever heard that, but
I have not, but it's good.
Yeah, And it kind of introduces the fact that I'm capable of this, but I can also be a real normal person. The same goes for like my sense of humor or whatnot, and how to lay that down eventually. But what is some experience that you had, like talking to chicks and kind of trying not to be such a chameleon to like appease, their sensibilities?
Well, how old a guy are you?
I'm 26.
I found that as I got older, and I got more of a sense of myself, and I became more confident with getting laid, that I still have insecurity about it. Me and my manager were walking yesterday, and there was a smoking hot blonde that I wanted to talk to, but I just couldn't. I mean, it's hard in New York when someone's walking up Fifth Avenue. But, as you go on in life, you realize that learning about who you are gives you a little bit more confidence and a little bit more knowledge of what you will and will not tolerate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is certain crazy. I don't care what a girl looks like. I just won't tolerate it. I won't deal with it. If passive-aggressive shit makes me crazy, and I won't deal with it. If I like somebody more than they like me, and I can sense that by the way they're acting, I will not deal with it. I'll walk away. Because I know the writing on the wall is I'm going to wind up feeling miserable in this situation. But at one point in my life, I never would have done that. I would have tried to fix them. I would have tried to change them. No matter what they did, I would have found a reason to stick around because I was afraid of being alone or losing them. But the older I've gotten, the more I have, kind of drawn my own line just by knowing what I truly like and don't.
Yeah, kind of putting your foot down and holding them to an expectation instead of me being the one under the microscope all the time, almost.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, you know what you like and what you don't like, and normally our first instincts are kind of right. So, whatever you feel when you first start is probably the right thing. And you can tell if she's batshit crazy, you don't deal with it. You don't need to.
But as for if you're not pursuing a relationship and you just want to hook up with the chick, you kind of just, you just do whatever you can, right? Like, 'cause
what do you mean?
I'll be whoever they want me to be. If she's just hot and I know her mind is just complete garbage and she's airy and has no personality, like if you just want to get laid, you kind of play the game still though, and you fake it.
I'm a dirty guy, and I can fantasize and be different people like that, like and enjoy that. But maybe because I'm 47, I'm not really good at that anymore. And again, the difference is when you're kind of a public figure, and I put a lot of my own personal shit out there. So all somebody's got to do is Google me to see if I'm full of shit or not. So I'm a little easier to figure out because I could pretend to be this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy, and then they watch a special, and they go, wait a minute, well, you're not the guy I thought you were. I met someone not long ago. And we went on a date to dinner. Nothing happened. Most of my dates recently have literally just been dinner and a hug goodnight. And then she watched one of my specials, and she's like, I thought you were like this nice guy. I'm like, well, now you know. But I wasn't apologetic for it, and I didn't try to change, and she was fine with it, you know what I mean? She was kind of playful about it. But the point being is, eventually they're going to figure it out anyway. In my case, a little faster because of fucking Google. But I don't think you need to be who you're not, dude. I really don't.
That's great advice. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, buddy. All right. Let's see here. Brian in San Diego. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. So I have a question for you, not about my own sobriety, but how to deal with someone that's trying to go through it.
Okay.
I'll give you a quick rundown of what happened.
Yeah.
So I started dating this girl recently, and she's sober already off of other things, but when we drink, she goes out of control, and that happened Sunday. We got all drunk, and she wasn't feeling good, so all day yesterday she was, remorseful and all, and I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm not going to do this. I got to change my life. She went to a meeting, and then went out to the bar later and got drunk again yesterday.
Okay. No, wait, you're recovering as well, or you're not?
No, I'm not recovering.
But she's a sober person who continually relapses.
She is sober off of drugs, but not alcohol.
Okay, then she's not sober. Yeah. She's not sober. She's just kind of switched addictions. And again, sometimes people look at what's the difference between that and food? Hey, look, they're both bad, but we understand the difference between someone who's drinking, doing drugs, and someone who's compulsively eating. You know, no one sucks dick to get a burger. You don't eat a burger and then plow into a fucking cop car, you know. So she's still actively using. So, yeah, maybe she's not ready, dude. How long you been with her?
Just a couple months.
Well, you know, is it worth sticking around for?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. But my main question, though, is, you know, when she was telling me this, you know, oh, I can't control it. She didn't say she couldn't control it. But to me, it's like, if you want to change, why don't you just do it? If you're driving to the bar, the whole time you should be thinking, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and turn around and not do it.
Right.
Is that not the right way to talk to someone?
You know, you can't run her program for her. Do you know what I'm saying? It's really hard when people in our lives who are not in the program try to run the program. And that's the temptation, is you want to start telling her, oh, do this, do that. And that's something that really she has to want to do herself. You know what I'm saying? You really do need to allow her just to do it herself. And if she's not willing, then you have to make a decision on whether or not you want to stay.
Okay.
Okay?
All righty. So, yeah, I guess that. I just wanted to make sure I didn't say the wrong things to her, because I was saying, you know, it's in your hands. It's completely your decision not to do that. You say you don't want to do it, and then you go and do it.
Yeah, it is her decision, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it is, when they're ready, you can't say anything wrong. When they're not ready, you can't say anything right. That was what I was told. And, you know, hey, if somebody wants to get sober, they're going to get sober. They don't need a fucking 3-year rehab. You know, they can maybe go to a detox, go to rehab, and then begin a 12-step group or support group, whatever the fuck they want to do. It's choice. You know what I mean? We're powerless over drugs and alcohol when we're doing them, but you do make a decision on a daily basis. Like, I'm going to live sober today and not do that shit. So, you know, if she's not willing to make that decision, there's nothing you're going to do other than maybe leaving, and maybe that will be bottom for her. I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah, that's a good point, though, that if you can only change yourself, which is what I was getting at. Like, I was telling her, you know, because she keeps, you know, oh, well, you drink and all. It's like, yeah, but I can stop right now. If you want to, like, if I wanted to stop, I could just stop.
Right. For you, it's not a problem?
No, not, I mean, not, it's a problem every once in a while, but not all the time, no.
So what do you mean it's a problem every once in a while?
What's that?
It's a problem once in a while, you said?
Well, not a problem, but, you know, I go out and I'll get drunk, and it affects my work the next day.
Oh, okay.
So a problem like that, but not a problem like I go on a binge and I can't handle it myself.
Well, if you don't have a problem with it, there's nothing wrong with that. And someone, Alan from Sacramento, thank you. He's saying Al-Anon will help partners and family members living with people in recovery. Yes, it does. I mean, Al-Anon can help people who are actively drinking and drugging, or someone who is actually sober and in recovery. So why don't you try Al-Anon? If you like this girl enough and you want the relationship to work, I suggest that program, and I've never gone to it. It's just, I've heard people talk about it. Why don't you try it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what she's talking about, going to a psychiatrist and all this.
Isn't it amazing how people want to go to a psychiatrist and pay money instead of a free 12-step program?
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't understand. Yeah, she's like, I need to get on medication. It's like, well, then you're going to be addicted to something else.
What is she? Well, again, I don't know what her medical history is, so I don't know what that is. But I would say go to just try an Al-Anon meeting and see if that helps you at all, because you're not going to fix her.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Well, thanks for talking.
Sorry, there's no quick fix, buddy, okay? There's no quick fix.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, thank you. Eric in Connecticut, what's up, man?
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. The reason I'm calling is this past year has been pretty heavy. I had a bad falling out with family, had an injury, stopped working out, and I gained a bunch of weight.
Okay.
And I'm trying to regain my focus and get my willpower so I know what to do, but it's so tough to get that willpower and that focus back so that I can do the things that I need to do. And I'm just wondering how you did it when you were able to, put yourself in a program for your addictions and you were able to start losing weight. How did you do that?
Once you start losing the weight, the hard part for me is that initial decision because you don't see results at first. So I had to say to myself, I'm not going to see results for 2 months. Stop obsessing, just go. Eat healthy and go to the fucking gym. Don't weigh yourself. Don't look in the mirror. Don't pinch your fat tits. Don't do any of that shit. Just shut up and go. That was what I told myself. And I was going 5-6 days a week. I was very dedicated. Started to lose weight. People started to compliment. I got trainers. Slowly began to increase and do well. I peaked out at about 150. Everyone was telling me, oh, you look good, blah, blah, blah. I shot my last special, contextually inadequate. And I was, not thrilled with the way I looked there, but I thought I looked better. Then I hurt my arm, and I was like, oh, my God, I can't lift anymore. I can only do cardio. I'm going to fatten up. So then I found a new diet, and that kicked my ass off the next plateau, and I lost 12 more pounds. So sometimes the compliments got addicting. Like people tell me, you look good. Or when Ozzy noticed I lost weight, that meant a lot. And that wanted me, that made me really want to continue losing weight. So you get very addicted to the compliments.
Right.
But, again, the initial thing, realize you're not going to see results, and that's okay.
Right. That makes sense because I've tried and I'll be good for like a week or two, and then I just, I don't see anything, and it was just hard. But you're right. If I just have that in my mindset, 2 months, just push through, that might do it.
Yes. Don't obsess over the result. It's almost like when you go off the diet, you put on 4 pounds. We all have done that. Then the temptation is like, oh, fuck it. The hardest part is to get back into it because even though I'm way skinnier than I was, I still have that fat piggy boy needs to lose weight attitude about myself. Because again, my mind is fucked up. So my mind tells me bullshit. My mind lies to me all the time and tells me I look terrible and I'm awful. And then that puts me in a depression, which makes me eat. And then I feel more depressed because I'm legitimately putting weight on. It's just a vicious cycle, man. You got to realize, don't listen to yourself because you're listening to a fucking idiot who doesn't know what they're talking about. Just go do the action.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to take that advice. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, buddy. Good luck. Marty in Connecticut. Hello.
Jim, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Oh, my God, I was just about to tell you the exact opposite. Now, don't hang yourself, but when I saw you at Southern, you come out, your pants hang off, you have no ass, and you look like you slept in those fucking things and drove 500 miles. You need a wardrobe person. You were a fucking mess.
Dude, let me tell you something. First of all, I happen to have a nice little hiney, and you don't need to like it. A girl who's putting her finger in there needs to like it. But the pants do hang off me a little bit. It's because, again, I've lost weight. So, but that's not going to stop me from getting laid. It may not help. But if my only problem in life is that my pants aren't amazing, then I'm doing okay. But no, that doesn't really help because,
Listen, if you want to be in denial, I'm trying to be your friend and tell you look like a fucking mess. You come out and you're a mess.
Well, I don't need you, but I probably get laid more than you do, Marty.
You do, but listen, buy a pair of jeans that fit.
My pants are 30 around and 30 long. Or they're even maybe less than 30 now. So I've lost a lot of weight, so it's hard for me to get pants because I have to keep buying new pants.
Does it make you a better person because you get laid more than me, you fuck?
Well, no, you're criticizing me.
Well, you criticize me.
I don't call your show, you dope. Shut up.
I don't have a show, but I try to give you some advice.
But I don't need your advice.
All right, goodbye. I hope you get laid tonight by a fag, you tranny.
I will. I by a fag, you tranny?
I didn't suck.
Good one. That's why you don't have a show, dummy. Because you can't call me a tranny-loving fag. Hope you get laid by a fag, you tranny. You literally said the wrongest thing you could have said there, dummy.
Yes, I owe you a suck.
You dope.
3 dicks. I owe you a suck. You're so broken, I'm surprised you haven't killed yourself. You can't even drink, you pussy.
You're trying to say something. I remember you on the line. You're a fanboy. Just be a fanboy. Don't try to say anything cutting. You're probably bipolar, and you get moody, and you were the little fucking baby boy who called up and wept like a child. You cut me out of the Amy interview. But then I didn't cut you out, and then you had to apologize like a dumb fuck. I hope you get laid by a fag, you tranny. Stop trying to be cutting. You're too stupid.
You got me, Jim.
Yes, I did. Goodbye. Jesus Christ. That guy calls up, and I recognize his voice, but I talk to him. I don't know if he has problems, but don't be a twat on the phone. The reason you don't get laid is because you fucking sound like Caitlyn Jenner. No wonder you used a tranny reference. All right. Let's see here. How about Andy in Virginia? Hi, Andy.
God damn. I think that guy's wife's tits fell off.
Dude, I hope you get laid by a fag, you tranny. He said the wrongest thing he could have said. What's up, buddy?
Well, first off, I have the genetics of a water buffalo.
Oh,
I
no.
always have my entire life. Yeah, fat kid, fat everything. Long story short,
Well, what do you eat, buddy? Hold on. Do you eat poorly?
Dude, I have gone to so many doctors, and I have actually had doctors just tell me, you have the worst genetics I've ever seen. My father's over 500 pounds. I mean, I'm basically supposed to be the guy who has to cut the door off to fit the rig.
Okay.
But, I've lost a lot of weight, and the exchange when I was younger was I gained a lot of muscle, but I also gained a lot of fat. I got older. You don't gain as much muscle. I have started using performance enhancement drugs, Cestinon 250, Deca, Trenbolene, and HGH. They are amazing. I mean, just absolutely amazing. I have never felt so good in my life. I mean, I have muscle definition. Of course, I got some, tummy because I'd have to get that surgically removed. But the fact that I'm using so much of it now, and it's such a large part of my life, I'm just wondering, it's not something that's hurting me per se. Is this still considered a drug addiction?
Well, maybe in some sense of the word it is, but it's not making you feel high, is it?
No. Well, the only thing is the Cestinon 250 is for women who are having the sex change to men, and it will literally make your dick bigger, and you will have the sex drive of a 14-year-old. I mean, you can spray ropes across the room because of it. So, yeah, that does make me a little high.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I don't know the answer to that. That's a great question. I wouldn't consider that a person who's behaving like an addict, but maybe it is. I mean, if it's doing something for you and you're afraid you can't come off it, is it making your life unmanageable? Is it endangering your health? I don't know the answers to those questions. One thing I would definitely say is find out about these steroids or whatever it is. When you come off stuff like HGH, do you have to stay on them for a long time? If you come off them, is there any kind of ramification for coming off them or problem for coming off them?
What you have to do is you have to do what's post-cycle therapy, where you have to use estrogen blockers because all your body's making is testosterone right now. And then when you start producing your own testosterone, of course, you're going to produce estrogen with it, and that'll make your balls shrivel up if you don't use an estrogen blocker. So, I mean, I've done hours and hours and hours of research on it. If it's done safely, if it's done properly, if you do proper cycles like 12-week cycles, rather than just stay on it forever, you can manage things like that. You have to drink a lot of water to protect your liver and your kidneys. But I'm just like, my God, I mean, I feel wonderful, but I'm thinking, okay, am I a drug addict now? Because I've never been addicted to drugs in my life. I mean, I've never cared about it before, but I guess that little conscience thing in you, your conscience is saying, are you a drug addict now?
No, I wouldn't consider you a drug addict, dude. That's I wouldn't consider that to be a drug addict. Not in the sense that if it's making you uncomfortable and you don't want to be addicted to that or you don't want to keep doing it, then try not to do it or don't do it. But when I think of someone who's active in drugs, I don't think of it as being HGH or things as they're lifting. But again, I mean, I guess that stuff can be really bad for you if you abuse it. So, If it's making you uncomfortable, then maybe get yourself off it, because obviously you have an issue with being on it.
Well, it's just, I guess I have a problem with labels, I guess is what one of my problems is. I have a problem with things like that, and I just don't want to in my mind be labeling myself as a drug addict. But I mean, if you think that, it's just something that's helping you and making you feel better, then I guess it's all right. I appreciate your answering the call.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Take care. Let's see here. How about Hayden in California?
Second, Jim. Sorry, sir. This fucking midget just got out of her car. She works at the PetSmart, and I was just watching her walk around.
God love her little heart.
Okay. So my problem is, sir, I'm working right now. I'm on a lunch break. I've been busting my fucking balls ever since I got my apartment. And, last night, it was my birthday, and I had a day off work, so I went and hung doors for a guy downtown. And, when I'm not working, I'm working. And she came home, she was in lingerie and everything, and she was like, hey, let's do it. And I was just like, I kind of saddled in the bed, and I was like, babe, I'm just tired. I can't do it anymore. I'm burnt out. I've been working so much to try and help her, and I feel like it's killing my relationship. I've done everything I can to get ahead in life, and I feel like, I take 3 steps forward, and my relationship takes 2 steps back. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, it's affected. Yeah. It's affected every relationship I've ever had, and sometimes you got to say what's more important. It's a really hard thing because I love work, but it's also, women want someone who's successful and who works a lot, but they have a line with them. They want time with you. So, is there a way to do a little bit less or no?
See, the problem is I'm trying to do online school at the same time, and I tell her, like, hey, I'm doing all this for you. Like, it's not all about me. Even though I'm kind of a workaholic, and I used to have problems with like whores and just running around, and like that was my thing. I was in the military, and I would work 24/7, and then when I was off, I'd hit up Backpage or Redbook, and I'd get myself a whore, and I'd go do that thing, or I'd go hit a massage parlor, get yanked off, and that was my relationship, and because it was easy. But I don't want it to be easy anymore. I love this girl, and I want to marry her, but at the same time, like I'm still in the same space as you. Like I'm working myself to the bone, and I'm wondering if I'm going to die alone, Like that's my biggest fear, because
look, I understand.
I've worked my entire life. Yeah, I've worked my entire life, and I just don't want to work myself to where I'm dead and I have nothing to show for.
Yeah, you know why I'm afraid of that, dude? Because every girl I've ever broken up with has told me you're going to die alone.
But you know what? You're Jim Norton. You got HBO specials. You got everything going on.
Exactly, and you know what that means? Nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing. I'm single for 5 years. Whenever I meet somebody, something happens. Being Jim Norton is irrelevant. I met someone not long ago who I liked, and whatever. I like this person, and they kind of like me. And the next thing I know, they're off hanging out with somebody else. What am I going to do? Being Jim Norton's irrelevant. There's nothing I can do. But I know what you're saying, dude, and don't worry about dying alone. Just sometimes it's hard to be responsible to another person because we get used to being single and do whatever the fuck we want to do. So my suggestion would be enjoy this person and realize that they're a real person and there's real consequences for fucking around or doing, working too much or whatever it is,
I would never, yeah. I just, because I think about, I've been listening to you for a long time, and I know, Jim Norton's a legacy. But lowly in California, I don't have any TV specials. I don't have anything coming up for myself. I'm just working to make a living, just average Joe. And so I worry about that sometimes, Nah,
don't worry about you. I worry about the same thing. Doesn't matter what you have coming up. Believe me, having done an HBO special doesn't make the girl that I wanted to hang out with not want to fuck somebody else. It is what it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're not thinking of epics when they're going out and fucking somebody else. So I have to live with that as much as anybody. Okay, buddy?
Hey, thank you so much, Tim.
All right, handsome. Be good. Let's see here. Mary in St. Louis. How funny. I'm going to be in St. Louis Saturday. We could have talked at the pageant.
Man, I would have loved to seen you at the pageant when you're in St. Louis, but I'm a mom. I don't get out too much. I'm a big fan of yours. I heard you on Rover's Morning Glory, your interview, and I got to call in and ask you a question. My question today is, I heard in an interview, I think with Mark Maron, that you had done, and you had talked about when you were a small child being urinated on in the backseat of a car, and that's why.
Hold on, backseat of a car? No. When I was a kid, I had one of my friends sit on my face after he peed his pants behind a bush.
Okay.
Maybe you're thinking of two different stories.
Okay, well, you're familiar with the story, correct?
Yeah, well, if this is the one you're thinking of. Yeah, he was younger than me by like a year, though. I wasn't victimized by him.
You had alluded to the fact that that's why you think that that's why you're perverted or you have perversions is from that moment. And I've never, ever heard you talk about that moment ever again. So I wanted you to elaborate on it.
Again, if it's the same moment we're thinking of, it was a kid in my neighborhood, my age or a year younger. We were in the same age group. And he had peed his pants. And I always liked, there was, you know what you might be thinking of? The brother and sister, the two blonde, the brother and the sister, both of them would pee their pants. And I've said this too, I don't know what kind of horrible home life they had. And they would, I would smell both of their, pee. And I tried to get the girl to sit on my lap one time and she sat in a sticker bush. I don't know if that's what you meant. Those happened before this other incident. So you know what? I don't know how they sparked me in my perversion. Maybe it's the only incident I can think of. Or are you thinking of when the kid peed in my mouth when I told him not to in the swimming pool when I was even younger? I don't know which story you mean. Maybe when I was talking to Mark, I mixed them up. But there's been a lot of urine in my life, miss. So it's hard to narrow down piss stories.
Whatever the story was, it was a good story. It captivated me. You're quite the storyteller. And, you're very interesting to me. You're dirty and disgusting. So it's fascinating.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You coming to see me in St. Louis? Oh, I lost her. All right. Chris, she's done with me. Hey, Chris in Phoenix, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy. I didn't think I was going to get on. All right, so I got 3 ex-girlfriends that are now in porn. They're pretty successful. Well, 2 of them are pretty successful, and I found this out through the grapevine, and at first it really aggravated me. I kind of was embarrassed, but then I found myself, angrishly enjoying it, and, constantly masturbating. I still watch them, and now it seems like when I'm in a relationship, I try to get into, those kind of situations. Kind of not cuckolding where I'm being humiliated, but I guess that swingers lifestyle and it has ended horribly almost in every relationship due to that. So I guess my question is, what's the appropriate way to go about this without coming off like a total I guess there's really no way to come off without looking like a perv, but an appropriate way to handle these.
What exactly you want to watch them in real life or only in the films?
Well, I mean, I've had buddies of mine, me and them have shared women and stuff like that. I'm more interested in having a girlfriend that I can swing with and she could fuck other dudes that I can watch and just things like that. I guess just kind of be myself sexually instead of having to, fuck a girl and then 15 minutes later I'm in the bathroom tugging it to something that I really wanted to do. I just don't really know the appropriate way to handle this in a relationship. How do you bring it up? How do you...
it's funny. I try to do it early. Again, I'm in a unique situation because of the type of a comic I am. A lot of them know coming in, so hey, this guy's dirty, it's hard for me to say how do you do it cold. But the times I've had to do it cold, where the girl didn't know my act at all, there's been times where it was negative and they didn't like it. And then the choice is, well, you accept it or you don't. I think whenever you mention it, you have to be ready for the answer to be, I can't handle that and I'm leaving. Do you know what I'm saying? If it's important enough for you where it's hey, I don't want to hide this. I'm sick of hiding this. And I don't think you should have to. She could disagree with it, but I don't think you should hide it, It's not like you want to fuck kids or dogs. I mean, Maybe just talk to her about it. Start fantasizing about it. Watch threesome porn. Tell her you think it'd be so sexy to watch her. Oh my God, I don't want to fuck another guy. Why would you want to see that? Because it's so hot. It's like watching porn and you're so sexy to me. And just to see you being so inappropriate, the idea of that turns me on. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Because that's usually what it is, dude. I don't want a girl I'm with to fall for another guy. A lot of times it's the idea that they are going to just be dirty in front of me. But like I said, not long ago, I met a girl. She was nice. And she was, I guess off with somebody else. And there was nothing I could do. I didn't love it. And she didn't care. So that was that. You know, it kind of works against me sometimes, too.
Well, you're right, because I've done those things. You know, I've stood, like my ex-wife and me, actually, I got the door open, and then we started watching porn, masturbating, and then we ended up going to a swingers club. And, like, it was almost like the perfect storm for freaks like me and you, Jimmy, where, like, this dude had, like, a fucking monster cock, and I didn't even notice that he was there, because I'm not into dudes. I'm more into the girl being dirty in front of me, and I noticed her looking over in this one direction constantly, and I was trying to figure out what she was looking at. And she goes, "Do you see that guy over there?" And I tried so hard to get her to do it, but I think she was more afraid of, doing it and then me not wanting to be with her afterwards, which is understandable, and that's one of the main hurdles I do get is when I do find a woman that's into those kind of things, I think they're kind of afraid that I'm tricking them or
setting them up, or that you're just going to react badly. So the way to do it is start light. Like have a guy come over or go to a hotel, and the parameters are, hey, my wife's going to play with your dick a little and that's it. My wife's going to suck your dick, my girl, whatever. Really ease into it. And this way you and her are both kind of getting your feet wet together. And this way, if it's uncomfortable, you can back off and go, hey, we tried that. It's not like I fucked. How do you feel? How do you feel? And then you're talking your way through it. And the next time, maybe you'll want to do more. But I think if you both do that, here's the important thing to remember. Either one of you can end the experience for any reason, and it's okay with the other one. That to me is really important, because like if all of a sudden you guys are both into it and you're like, oh my God, this is all of a sudden threatening to me, sweetheart, I want to stop. She can't be resentful and cunty on the way home. She's got to be like, hey, that was dirty and I was happy to do it, but you're more important. Do you know what I mean? If both of you guys are like that, I think you're fine. But ease into it, dude. Just ease into it, bridge into it a little bit, okay?
All right, man. And hey, I don't want to be called a fanboy, but dude, I mean, I am a fan of yours, and I hope you don't leave the Opie show, but if you do, I hope you have your own radio show, because, I don't know, dude, man, you're just a cool person, so keep it up, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Chris. I appreciate that. You're a good boy. Let's see, Mark in New Jersey. How you doing?
Hey, Jim, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. So, a couple years ago, I took time to myself. I started a new career and got myself sober. I'm working on my third year of sobriety, and my career, everything in that aspect is going great. However, I'm trying to get back into the dating scene and stuff, and I'm on Tinder and the dating sites, but I find myself, like, not pulling the trigger, so to speak. Like, a girl will want to hang out, and sometimes instead of just doing that, I'd just rather jerk off. And I'm starting to worry that I lost, like, that sexual drive.
No, you don't want to be addicted to jerking off either, though. Like, I think what happens is sometimes we get more selective, and we realize as we get older, there's conditions I have that need to be met for me to be turned on. And it's not as easy for me just to show up anymore because she's got tits. But then the other side of that coin is you don't want to just be addicted to jerking off and then blow off human contact just to jerk off. So you might want to find a balance with that. I've certainly gotten caught up in that. Look, it saved me from, catching AIDS or getting a girl pregnant or what, Hey, look, maybe it saved me from a disaster. But you do want to be careful that you don't use it to isolate and avoid real experiences. Do you know what I mean? Maybe just have a certain number of dates. Like, I'm going to go out to dinner 2 or 3 times before I do anything more than kiss. So don't put the pressure on yourself of fucking or worry about your drive. Your sex drive means nothing if you're only going out to dinner.
Well, that's the thing. I want to get my rocks off, but for some whatever reason, I don't want to go through the motions of, like, having that, like, oh, what do you do for a living, and do you have any brothers and sisters and stuff? And
well, go through that, dude, because that's what you're going to have to do. Women, like, they don't like when you go through them like fucking playing cards. You might have to do that. So if you do it with no expectations of sex and getting your rocks off, maybe you'll enjoy the experience just for what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the worst part of going to dinner is, am I going to get laid? Am I not going to get laid? If you don't think you're going to get laid, it's like, oh, shut up, dope. Who cares? But if you know you're only going to have dinner And if you're using this experience, I have to wrap up in a minute, dude. If you say, I'm only doing this to get better at doing this because now I'm sober a couple of years and I'm getting back into the game. Because, dude, if you're only going to get your rocks off, the one girl who's really gonna fuck you, you're gonna blow it with her because you're gonna be too eager and she's gonna feel like you're just using her as a hole to dump a load in. So some of these girls you're gonna have to work for. So go out and practice right now and just realize I'm gonna go out and have a nice fucking dinner and talk to this young gal and not fuck her. And that, I think, will help you when you are gonna get your rocks off with someone. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. I will try that. Thank you, Jimmy. Love you and all your work.
Thank you. I apologize. The line is full. Try to call next week. I'm so sorry that I cannot get to all of you. But, thank you very much. And call next week. And San Antonio, sorry I didn't get to you about the updates. STD testing, how often do you do it? I do it every few months. And how do you do it? You go get a blood test. The woman who doesn't engage, who doesn't want to take her fucking fiance's last name, don't. Tell them you want to be an individual. And is the VIP meet and greet in Madison before or after the show? It's before the show. Thank you, Trevor. Guys, take care. And sorry I didn't answer all your questions. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Jim Norton Show. Hear all that advice whenever you want to on demand.